Eden Zero has had another great chapter as this current fight between Ziggy and Void has so far started off with a bang, and I am all but excited to see how everything turns out. And we also got a conclusion to one of the Shining Stars matchups with the Dark Stars. So that is something that I did not expect for this chapter, but I'm also kind of glad that we got a conclusion to a major fight here in this chapter. And it gets me excited to see what's going to happen next. But before we get into this chapter, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps. It shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you guys want to see more Eden Zero content. Last review did well even though I hadn't reviewed in a long time, so here's hoping this keeps up. Anyway, with all that said and done, let's get right into the review. So chapter 268 of Eden Zero titled Ziggy vs. Void, as we start off from last chapter where Ziggy basically says to Void that is he going to kill his own mother, and Void says that woman is not my mother. And he goes on to say, and you are not my father. Ziggy is all snarky saying, yeah, I don't like thinking that my kid is a delinquent on a universal level, but if that's the truth, destroying you with my own hands is the least I can do to say goodbye. As Ziggy charges up his gravity fist, as he says, neither of us should be here in this time, in this world. This is where we both cease to exist. As he goes forward to launch an attack against Void, as Void counters with his own punch, landing a huge shockwave throughout the empty space around them. As then we see some asteroids and debris in the open space begin to quickly be pulled towards the two of them. The two of them face off as they both disperse from each other as the meteorites clash. Ziggy commands the gravity of one side of meteorites to go towards Void as Void redirects them. Ziggy tries to land another gravity fist, but Void instantly disappears and appears right behind him with the powers of Cat Leaper, as it reminds Ziggy that he has the power over time, and all Ziggy has is gravity. He is his superior, as he punches Ziggy in the back. But Ziggy goes on to say, maybe I do only have gravity, but I know how to use it, as he uses his Magic Mega Attack Gravity Fist and smashes it on top of Void's head, shattering his helmet and revealing his face, as Ziggy just goes on to say, well, you do have Shiki's good looks, as we see Void's full face. And yeah, he does look like Shiki. I mean, he is Shiki's future child from an alternate original future But that is essentially it for the fight for this chapter, as even though this is titled Ziggy vs. Void, we only got 7 pages of this fight, as we then cut to the Eden Zero, as we are basically halfway through the countdown of Killer's self-destruct program to destroy the Eden Zero. Hermit says that the detonation has roughly 5 minutes left and calls out to Witch and Valkyrie, but then she automatically gets the signal. Same with the rest of the Shining Stars, as they sense that Ziggy has arrived, as Witch is incredibly happy that he really is alive. And Wizard is confused by this, wondering how is that even possible? Why is he engaged with Void? That can't be. Witch goes on to say, I thought you 4 Dark Stars were created by Master Ziggy as well, and asks if Master Ziggy wants them to fight. But Wizard goes on to say that I have been given one order and one order alone, to destroy Witch Regret, as he lunges an attack straight towards Witch, as Witch dodges out of the way, says, but who gave you that order? With Wizard going on to say, the grand and glorious will, the Eden's one, the will of Void, as the two of them continue their clash. But it's in this clash that we then cut to another flashback of 20,000 years ago. Now, something I didn't really touch on in the first video coming back is that I'm really liking these flashbacks to 20,000 years ago, showcasing the original lives of the Shining and Dark Stars, as well as the origins of where they're coming from and their tragic past they were teased with a long time ago. And getting these answers drip-fed to us through these different interactions through this battle, so we know the full context, really makes this whole confrontation even more emotionally charged, considering this flashback in particular, as this is where Wizard and Witch in their previous lives are just staring out into the open city, as Leonard, Wizard's previous life, basically asks Witch's previous life, Regret, to marry him. As Regret looks over to him, she smiles at his embarrassing face and answers yes. As we then cut back to this actual fight, where Witch is being thrown around, and Wizard is also basically clashing with her, as he goes on to say that he will kill her, And Witch goes on to say that she will show no mercy to anyone who threatens her family. The two of them clash fists as both of their left arms are destroyed. As with Witch's arm flying in the air, we get one other flashback with both of them declaring their love for each other, as then Wizard begins to use his forbidden ether to try and use the magic of destruction against Witch. But it's then that she showcases the power of the Shield of Edens, and with a 2-page spread, we get her radical field, basically reflecting all of Wizard's magic attacks and redirecting it towards him as he's being completely engulfed and torn to shreds by all of his own attacks. With the chapter ending with Witch looking very disappointingly and saddeningly at Wizard's destroyed body, as she asks, perhaps somewhere in all the universes there was a world where we didn't need to fight. With the final panel being a flashback of Witch and Wizard in their previous lives kissing after the marriage proposal, ending the chapter. Now, this was a short one comparing this to last week's chapter, since the good point of this chapter was really just action scenes and both characters interacting. The Void and Ziggy fight, starting off very great, very cool usage of gravity. I love when Mashima ends up having two characters with this power, with gravity, using them to their advantage. I mean, they're in open space, and they're using their gravity powers to not just fight each other with actual physical blows and techniques, but also commanding the debris and meteoroids, asteroids around them to basically try and engulf their enemies. That is something I liked from the fights against Shura and Ziggy when Shiki ended up fighting them. And seeing this happen with Void makes me incredibly happy, and hopefully when this gets animated, it's given proper time and attention to detail in the anime. And Void having Cat Leaper does give him a tactical advantage. He can seemingly either go back in time to get away from a specific situation quickly, or he's more or less just using Cat Leaper's main ability to increase his speed tremendously so he can avoid a lot of Ziggy's attacks. Now, how Ziggy is going to combat this, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure we're going to end this with either Ziggy losing or there being some sort of draw in attention from this fight. No idea how this will end. Maybe Ziggy will lose and deal a decent amount of damage to Void, or something else will occur. But either way, I'm excited to find out about that. And lastly, we have Witch's concluding fight with Wizard. The emotions in that fight, when you really dig deep into this, is that neither of them know about their past, that they're actually married, and with the previous flashbacks, they were going to have a child. And now Witch had to basically take out the person that in her past life she loved with all her heart and was the father of her child. And it's just a whole mess of a situation. So, well, yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about that in the flashbacks that neither of them know about. Just makes us, the readers, more sad at this revelation and this actual fight, because neither of these characters should even be fighting, as they were all close to each other in a past life. Which makes me very, honestly, curious to see how Hermit's past and Valkyrie's past with their respective counterparts basically concludes with their inevitable fights. Obviously, Wise is fighting Killer, but I honestly want to see how that fight turns out. Valkyrie versus Brigand, that will be a cool fight that I cannot wait to see. But from what I'm told with the captions for the next chapter, it might be a Homura-focused chapter, which, honestly, very good. We've had a couple of chapters without really having any Homura, so her is going to fight God Aknoella. So that'll be a fight that hopefully gets extended upon, because we didn't really get to see too much of God Aknoella in the previous arcs. But that's all my ramblings done. This is a good chapter, great action set pieces, and I like the composition and the storytelling between Witch's fights as well as Ziggy's fight against Void. Everything was very good, and I am incredibly hyped to see what happens next. But that's all for me this week. I hope you enjoyed this video on Eden Zero. What did you guys think of the chapter? Leave your thoughts, opinions, and theories in the comment section down below. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel. I want to keep these Eden Zero reviews coming now that I can make a bit more content during the week. So let's see how things play out, and I might do other Eden Zero based discussion videos. Maybe I'll cover some other stuff with the series when I get the time. But for now, that's all I got for you guys today. And with all that said and done, I hope you all have an awesome day.